Captain Jake Morrison stood at the main window of his ship, staring into the endless night. The UES Retribution hurtled through space at tremendous speed, yet the stars seemed frozen and tranquil. 15 years as a captain, and Jake still loved this view. Each star was a beacon in the dark, some encircling worlds where families lived, worked, and dreamed. The bridge remained hushed except for the faint hum of computers and systems. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez monitored transmissions from nearby ships and stations. Dr. Elena Vasquez quietly read alien world reports on her tablet. Everything felt routine, calm, like countless other days in space. Then the emergency alarm blared. Amy's head snapped up, eyes wide. Her face drained of color, hands trembling slightly. She pressed controls, then turned toward Jake. "Captain, urgent message from Fleet Command. Code Red priority." Jake's gut clenched. Code Red meant disaster. In 15 years, he had seen it only twice, once during a pirate convoy attack, once after a station power core explosion. "Put it on the main screen, Amy." The forward display flared to life, revealing Admiral Carl Henderson. He looked exhausted, furious, gray hair disheveled, uniform wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes. "All captains, listen carefully. The Zephyran Empire has struck the human colony on Kepler 442b, not a military post, a farming world, home to families and children. Plasma bombardment leveled everything. Initial reports confirm over 2 million dead, including 12,000 humans." Jake felt as if someone had punched him. He collapsed into his chair. Elena dropped her tablet with a sharp clatter. Amy let out a quiet sob. "This assault violates the galaxy's most sacred law," the Admiral continued. "For 3 centuries, civilian colonies were never targets, even in war. That rule kept us civilized. The Zephyrans shattered it. Everyone knew the Galactic Covenant. Fight soldiers, raid bases, destroy warships, but never harm civilians. That single law prevented chaos and slaughter. The Zephyrans had been fighting another species for months, far from human space. No one imagined they'd strike an innocent human world. All human ships, return to Earth immediately," Henderson ordered. "The Colonial Senate convenes at once. Our response will be decided." The screen faded to black. Silence gripped the bridge. Jake's heartbeat thundered in his ears. Elena retrieved her tablet with shaking fingers. "I've studied Zephyran culture 8 years, Captain. Proud, harsh, but always bound by the Covenant." "This makes no sense." Amy wiped her eyes. "My cousin Betty lived there. Her husband, her kids. She said the farms were paradise." Jake rose, gazing at the cold stars again. They looked unchanged, yet everything felt darker. Somewhere out there, a species had decided murdering children was acceptable. "Amy," Jake said, voice hard, "inform the crew. We're earthbound. Elena, compile every detail on Zephyran forces and their movements. Weapons." Jake pressed the ship-wide comm button. "This is the captain. We have orders to return to Earth immediately due to an emergency. I will share full details soon, but for now, I need everyone calm and at their stations." As the Retribution swung toward Earth, Jake remembered the final message from the doomed colony. Administrator Betty Collins had spoken as plasma fire rained down. Her voice was steady, brave, though she knew death was certain. "Tell our families on Earth we stood together at the end. The children are scared, but the teachers remain. We are not alone. Tell them we were proud to be human, and we tried to make this world better." Jake had heard that recording 3 times. Each time it filled him with grief, anger, and pride. Betty Collins and thousands more had died only to spread terror for the Zephyrians' war. The return trip would take 5 days. The longest 5 days of Jake's life. And when they reached Earth, he knew everything would change. Humanity had never fought a full-scale war against a major empire. Pirates, miners' disputes? Yes. But not this. Staring at the stars, Jake wondered if humanity could truly make the Zephyrians pay. Their empire spanned 400 star systems, war fleets, millions of troops. Humanity controlled 50 systems, most ships built for commerce, not battle. Yet Jake remembered his grandfather's words. A veteran of Earth's last war, he once said size didn't always decide victory. Sometimes only love for those you protect mattered. The Zephyrians had miscalculated. They thought humanity would cower. That shattering the galaxy's one sacred law would terrify everyone. Instead, they had awakened something long dormant. They would learn what comes when human families are slaughtered. On Earth, the colonial Senate building seethed with anger and grief. Senator Patricia Wells entered through the main doors. The gallery overflowed with citizens and reporters from every world. Patricia represented the farming colonies. Many victims were friends she'd known since childhood. Her own sister had nearly moved to Kepler 442b 2 years ago. Taking her seat, Patricia scanned the chamber. In 12 years, she'd witnessed countless debates over trade, mining, budgets. Today, every face carried the same cold fury. Even Senator Kevin Murphy, usually cautious, diplomatic, sat with fists clenched, jaw locked. President Danny Foster entered. Calm by nature, rarely emotional. But today his face was stone, eyes like steel. As he stepped onto the platform, silence fell. "Fellow humans," he began, voice cutting through the hall, "an unthinkable crime has been committed. The Zephyrian Empire murdered 2 million innocents, including 12,000 of our own. They have shattered the law holding our galaxy together." He paused, scanning the room. These weren't soldiers. They were farmers, teachers, shopkeepers, children. They fed worlds, built schools, hospitals, playgrounds. They made the galaxy better, one day at a time. Patricia blinked back tears. There would be time for grief later. Now they had decisions to make. General Marcus Stone rose for the military briefing. Broad-shouldered, gray-haired, scarred from a Marine's life fighting pirates, raiders. Never wars like this. "The Zephyrian Empire spans 423 systems," he said. "Over 6,000 warships, 200 heavy cruisers, 50 dreadnoughts, billions of ground troops." Nervous shifting filled the chamber. Humanity owned fewer than 800 military ships, mostly escorts and patrol craft. However, Stone continued, intelligence shows their forces spread thin, 3 active war fronts, client species growing restless. A focused campaign could deliver real results. Senator Lisa Carter from the industrial world stood next to, "Speak, speak." Her daughter had been studying alien biology on the destroyed colony as part of a cultural exchange program. Lisa's voice stayed steady, though pain laced every word. "My daughter Jenny was 22. She wanted to learn about other species, to build understanding between humans and aliens. She believed knowledge could stop wars before they began. The Zephyrians killed her as she tried to save children from a burning school." Lisa's voice cracked briefly, then steadied. "Jenny would want us to remember not all aliens are like them, but she would also demand we ensure this never happens again." Senator Kevin Murphy rose next. Everyone expected calls for peace as usual. Instead, he shocked the chamber. "I've spent my life believing wars solve nothing. That dialogue beats violence." I still believe that most of the time. But some acts are so vile they can't be met with words. The Zephyrians showed us what they think of peace. Kevin's gaze swept the chamber. "Do nothing, and every species will learn the law means nothing. Dictators will think murdering families carries no cost. We cannot allow that." Debate raged 6 hours, though the decision felt inevitable. Senator after senator demanded justice, protection for innocents, action against terror. Some spoke tactics, others told stories of the dead. When the vote came, 847 for war, 3 against. Those 3 weren't traitors. They simply feared war's cost. But they were drowned out by those who believed some things worth fighting for. President Foster signed the declaration of war using his grandfather's pen, a soldier in Earth's last global conflict. His hand was steady, though the weight showed in his eyes. "We go to war not because we love battle, but because we love peace. We fight not from hatred, but to protect our children and every innocent life in this galaxy. May God help us do what's right, and may such a choice never come again." Admiral Julie Brooks took command of the First Fleet. Admiral Tony Garcia, the second. Veterans both, pirates and raiders, their only wars till now. Mobilization exploded within hours. Civilian factories switched to weapons and armor. Shipyards abandoned cargo haulers for cruisers and carriers. Millions enlisted. On industrial New Pittsburgh, worker Sam Mitchell watched assembly lines retool for missiles instead of tractors. His son had repaired farm equipment on the destroyed colony. Now Sam built weapons for vengeance. "Whatever you need, we'll build it," he told supervisors. "Whatever it takes." The aliens had made a terrible mistake. Word spread fast, through human worlds, then alien ones. Humanity was at war. Whether they could win or be crushed by an empire 20 times larger remained uncertain. On Zephyr Prime, Chancellor Vexclar gazed from his crystal tower over the gleaming capital, twin suns scattering rainbows across sky and spires. 20 years strengthening this empire, and he felt no fear about the human declaration of war. Humans were a young race, barely a few centuries into spaceflight, emotional, quick to anger, but lacking real power, or so the Zephyrians believed. Their empire was ancient, mighty, with fleets and armies dwarfing anything humanity possessed. The humans will shout and threaten for a while, Chancellor Vexclar told his war council. Then they'll realize victory is impossible. They'll beg for peace. We'll accept, after demanding 50 years of tribute. General Zexmore nodded. Intelligence confirms fewer than 800 human warships. Many obsolete patrol craft. They'd last 5 minutes against our cruisers. We could crush them in one battle, but the galaxy's reaction shocked the Zephyrians. Days after humanity's war declaration, species began choosing sides. The Altarian Republic, humanity's first ally among the stars, immediately severed trade and diplomatic ties with the Empire. At the Galactic Council, Ambassador Helen Parker delivered a speech history would never forget. The Zephyrians haven't only attacked humanity, Helen said, voice steady yet fierce. They've attacked the foundation of civilization itself. The Galactic Covenant isn't just law, it's our shared conscience. She scanned the vast chamber. Dozens of species listened, some humanoid, others utterly alien in form. Yet all understood the need to protect innocence. Today, human children burned in plasma fire, Helen said. Tomorrow it could be yours. Ignore this crime and we tell every warmonger the law is meaningless. One by one, species declared positions. The insectoid Manturi claimed neutrality, while secretly funneling sensor data to human intelligence. The aquatic D-lines offered their deep space monitoring stations to the human fleet. The greatest shock came from the Corvin clans. For over a century, this warrior people had fought beside the Zephyrian Empire, trading soldiers and ships for protection and wealth. Loyalty seemed certain. Commander Grotol, leader of the Corvin Defense Force, had fought countless battles for the Empire. His people prized honor above life itself. When news of the human colony reached him, nausea twisted his gut. For 112 years, Grotol told his officers, we fought, bled, died for the Empire because we believed it honorable. But there's no honor in slaughtering children. He sent a secret message to Admiral Julie Brooks of the First Human Fleet. We have seen our master's crimes. We choose honor over obedience. The Corvin clans stand with humanity. Chancellor Vexclar exploded with fury when the betrayal reached him. He ordered immediate retribution. Zephyrian troops arrested Corvin families, executed them publicly, broadcasting the killings across subspace as warnings to all client races. But the terror campaign backfired spectacularly. Instead of inspiring fear, the brutality ignited rebellion. Humanity's declaration of war shocked the galaxy. The species had only been among the stars for a few centuries. Emotional, impulsive, prone to anger but too small to be taken seriously. At least that's what the Zephyrian Empire believed. The humans will shout, threaten, maybe even fight for a few months, Chancellor Beakscalar told his war council, his voice dripping with contempt. Then they'll realize they can't win and come crawling for peace. We'll accept, of course, after demanding 50 years of tribute. General Zexmore nodded. Our intelligence confirms they have fewer than 800 warships, many of them outdated patrol craft. Their entire fleet wouldn't last 5 minutes against our battle cruisers. The Zephyrians expected a short, one-sided war. They were wrong. Within days, humanity wasn't alone. The Altarian Republic, first to greet humans when they reached the stars, cut off all trade with the Empire. In the Galactic Council chamber, Ambassador Helen Parker stood before delegates from dozens of species, her voice echoing across the hall. The Zephyrians haven't merely attacked humanity, she said. They've attacked the foundation of galactic law itself. The Galactic Covenant isn't just a treaty. It is the moral center holding us all together. She looked at the assembly, some humanoid, others utterly alien, and let the silence hang before finishing. Today, human children burned in plasma fire. Tomorrow it could be yours. One by one, species chose sides. The insectoid Manturi declared neutrality, but quietly shared their sensor data with human intelligence. The aquatic Delines opened their deep space monitoring stations to the human fleet. And then came the greatest shock, the Corvin clans, warriors for the Zephyrian Empire for over a century. The Corvins had fought and died for imperial conquests. Everyone assumed they'd stay loyal. But Commander Grotel, leader of the Corvin Defense Force, felt his blood turn to ice when news reached him of the human colony massacre. "We have served the Empire faithfully for 112 years, he told his officers. But there is no honor in slaughtering families. No honor in killing children." He sent a secret message to Admiral Julie Brooks of the First Human Fleet. "We choose honor over servitude. The Corvin clans will fight beside humanity." When Chancellor Vexcalar learned of the betrayal, his fury was absolute. He ordered entire Corvin families executed in public squares, broadcasts sent across the galaxy as warnings. But the images had the opposite effect. Instead of fear, the galaxy felt disgust. Neutral powers broke ties. Even client states wavered. The Zephyrians had crossed a line no one could ignore. Captain Nancy Thompson of the UES Defiance saw one of those broadcasts herself. Corvin families on their knees, soldiers shooting parents first, then children, saving the youngest for last to make the message clear. Nancy watched in silence as a little Corvin girl sobbed over her parents' bodies before being gunned down. "Change course," Nancy ordered. Her helmsman hesitated. "Captain, Fleet Command ordered us to hold position until I'm not watching another child die while we wait for permission." Her voice was ice. "Set course for Corvin Prime, maximum speed." The crew followed without question. Some things were worth disobeying orders for. News spread fast. The Crystalline Consortium broke its trade deals with the Empire. The gaseous Medusae began raiding Zephyrian supply lines. On Earth, President Foster gathered his generals. "They've made enemies of half the galaxy," General Stone reported. "But that makes them cornered. And desperate enemies do desperate things." Intelligence spoke of a new Zephyrian weapon, the Stellar Devastator, capable of triggering solar flares to wipe out entire systems. If the Empire was losing, they might burn whole stars before surrendering. 3 days later, Admiral Julie Brooks stood aboard her flagship UES Liberty as 68 human warships dropped out of hyperspace over Corvin Prime like avenging angels, Captain Nancy. Thompson's unauthorized transmissions told the full story. Zephyrian forces executing civilians by the thousands. Orbital defenses guarding the planet like a prison camp. "All ships," Admiral Brooks said coldly, staring at the burning world below, "prepare for combat. We end this nightmare today." The heavy cruiser UES Vengeance, commanded by Captain Peter Brown, struck first. Its plasma cannons ripped through an orbital station in a single salvo. Human fighters swarmed the enemy fleet like furious hornets. 2 hours later, orbital defenses burned. On the surface, Commander Kate Williams led Marine dropships through heavy fire toward the capital. "Remember," she told her troops, "we're here to save civilians, not destroy cities. We are not like the Zephyrians." Her Marines hit the ground running. The enemy had orders to kill every remaining prisoner before retreating. Marine Sergeant Gary Foster, nephew to the president, soldier by merit not blood, charged through city streets toward a school holding 300 Corvin children. Plasma fire cracked overhead as he shouted, "Move! Those kids don't have much time." Inside, Zephyrian troops were setting up execution squads when Gary's Marines crashed through the doors. The battle was brutal, close quarters, no mercy given. None asked, but the Marines reached the children before the slaughter began. And for the first time, the galaxy saw that humanity wasn't just fighting for victory, they were fighting for justice. Gunfire filled the hallways and classrooms as both sides fought for control. "Sergeant, the kids are in the basement," Corporal Michelle Davis radioed. "Over 200 scared but alive." Relief washed over Gary. They had made it. These children would return to families instead of dying for the Empire's cruelty. A small victory, but precious in a war drowning in death. Similar battles raged across Corvin Prime as Marines fought street by street to free civilians. Not all missions succeeded. The destroyer UES Courage under Captain Angela Martinez was lost while providing orbital fire support. Her final words spread across human space. "Tell my daughter Sarah some things are worth dying for. Tell her we saved lives today. That makes it worthwhile." The liberation of Corvin Prime lasted 18 brutal hours. When it ended, 50,000 civilians had been rescued. The cost, 23 ships lost, 800 Marines killed or wounded. But the victory sent a message across the stars. Humanity would not abandon those resisting tyranny. On dozens of oppressed worlds, hope stirred. The Crystalline Consortium declared independence, requesting human protection. The gaseous Medusae increased attacks on Zephyrian convoys, yet Chancellor Vexcalar was not finished. In his crystal tower on Zephyr Prime, he met his remaining commanders. "The humans think they've won," he said coldly. "They've saved a few Corvin children, turned a handful of allies, but they know nothing of real power." The Stellar Devastator, a secret weapon built over 10 years, was the size of a small moon. Its technology could reach into a star's core, triggering flares to sterilize entire systems. Few Zephyrian leaders even knew it existed. "Deploy it to the New Hope system," BX Kalar ordered. "Destroy the human colony. Broadcast the results across the galaxy. Show what defiance costs." New Hope held 3 million people, farmers, families, refugees from Earth, far from the war, defenseless, unaware death was coming. Admiral Tony Garcia received the intelligence as his second fleet was 3 days from Zephyrian space. The report came from Captain Ryan Clark aboard the stealth ship UES Shadow, deep in enemy territory. "Admiral, the weapon is real," Ryan reported. "It'll reach New Hope in 48 hours. My ship can't stop it, but we might sabotage its targeting systems." Tony studied the star chart. Even at full speed, his fleet would arrive too late. The only hope was Ryan's infiltration mission, disabling the weapon from inside. "Do it, Captain," Tony ordered. "Whatever it takes. 3 million lives depend on you." The race against time began, guiding the UES Shadow through darkness. Ryan approached the Stellar Devastator. It looked like a metal moon drifting among the stars, engines burning bright, carrying death toward New Hope. Ryan had volunteered knowing he probably wouldn't survive. The Shadow was built for reconnaissance, not assaulting a ship 1,000 times its size. But 3 million civilians would die unless someone stopped the weapon. Ryan was the only one close enough to try. "Sergeant Davis, ready?" He asked his second-in-command, Michelle Davis, one of only 5 Marines aboard and the fleet's best demolitions expert. "Ready, Captain." "We have enough explosives to cripple the main computers, but we need to get inside. Once detected, they'll throw everything at us." Ryan checked his rifle one last time. The plan was reckless. Dock using stolen codes, fight to the control center, destroy the targeting systems. Even if they all died, the delay might let Garcia's fleet arrive in time. The Shadow approached the Devastator and transmitted the forged Zephyrian codes Ryan had stolen during spy missions. Seconds crawled by. Then the docking bay opened, mechanical arms locking onto their ship. "We're in," Ryan whispered. "Remember, the mission is what matters. New Hope lives or dies on us." Zephyrian guards met them immediately, weapons ready. Ryan prayed his stolen uniform and forged orders would hold. "State your business," the captain demanded. "Delivering updated target coordinates," Ryan answered in the harsh Zephyrian tongue. "The Chancellor wants maximum efficiency for the detonation." The alien captain scrutinized the documents for what felt like hours. Finally, he nodded, assigning escorts to the control center. The corridors stretched endlessly. At the center of the ship, hundreds of technicians monitored the approach to New Hope. "Solar penetration in 6 hours," the lead tech announced. "Evacuation craft destroyed per orders. No survivors." Rage tightened Ryan's chest, but he stayed calm. Michelle and the others moved into position exactly as rehearsed. "Now!" Ryan shouted, drawing his weapon. The firefight was short and vicious. Technicians fell quickly, but alarms blared as soldiers converged. Michelle rushed to the main computer core, setting charges while Marines held the doors. Plasma fire scorched the room. "Charges set," Michelle yelled. 30 seconds. Ryan took a hit to the shoulder but kept firing. One by one, the Marines fell. Soon, only he and Michelle remained, crouched behind a console as enemies closed in. "It's been an honor, Sergeant," Ryan said, checking his last 3 rounds. "Honor was mine, Captain. At least New Hope lives." The explosives detonated. The control center vanished in white fire. Power failed. Alarms screamed in confusion. The weapon still existed, but its targeting was crippled. Repairs would take hours. By then, Garcia's fleet would arrive. The Battle of Zephyr Prime became the largest in galactic history. Over 800 ships clashed among the Empire's 7 core worlds. Garcia brought every human vessel plus allies from liberated species. The Zephyrian defense fleet was vast, but scattered by rebellions. From his crystal tower, Vexcalar watched his empire crumble. Captain Susan Powell led destroyers against the enemy flagship. Fighters from UES Liberty struck enemy cruisers. Commander Larry White kept damaged ships fighting against all odds. The turning point came when Commander Janet Kim aboard UES Retribution disabled the planetary shields. The capital lay defenseless. Orbital bombardment could annihilate it, but Garcia refused. "Chancellor Vexcalar," he broadcast, "this is Admiral Garcia. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender and your civilians live. We are not you." Vexcalar stared at the human fleet above his capital. They could have turned his cities to ash, yet offered mercy. The High Council surrendered. Facing rebellion and defeat, Vexcalar took his own life rather than submit to human justice. Within days, the Zephyrian Empire collapsed. Its client species gained independence under human protection. The Devastator was dismantled, its technology destroyed forever. Admiral Jake Morrison stood aboard UES Justice, renamed to honor the fallen. Behind him, a memorial wall bore every name of those who had died defending innocence. Dr. Elena Vasquez delivered the final report. 58,000 dead, Admiral, but over 2 million civilians saved. Dozens of species freed. Jake gazed at the stars, grief and pride mingling in his eyes. The victory had cost dearly, but it restored the law protecting innocence, a law broken by tyranny, now upheld by sacrifice. The stars felt changed, not just distant lights but witnesses to justice bought with blood. Humanity had proven some things were worth any price, that evil would never go unanswered as long. As good people stood against it, the only law of the stars had been broken. It would never be broken again.